Hey guys, Dave Keller here with Market Misbehavior. A man's accomplishments in life are the cumulative effect of his attention to detail. That's a quote from John Foster Dulles, and if you don't know him, you might have heard of Washington Dulles Airport named after him. Dulles was the Secretary of State under President Eisenhower in the 1950s here in the United States. That quote has always bugged me big time, and I'll tell you why. I am not a detail-oriented person, and my wife will giggle when she watches this video because it has been a source of tension and now comedy over our 19 plus years of being married to one another. She has a laser focus on detail. I tend not to. I tend to gloss over details. For her, life is about the specifics. It's about the details. It's about the weeds. For me, the details are what get in the way of my understanding and my appreciation for the big picture, the cosmic whole, this crazy lens with which I view the world. Dulles' quote where he talks about your success is basically the cumulative effect of your attention to detail. I think that's how a lot of detail-oriented people think of themselves and also view the world. They think of others that way, right? Your ability to contribute, your value to a team, your value to humanity is your ability to focus in on the details, focus in on the weeds. And I would argue that that's absolutely the case if that's how you're wired. I, however, am not wired that way. I tend to be more of a big picture person. So for me, I see my contribution as helping people get out of the weeds and think about the big picture, think about relationships, think about how, where we should be headed as a whole and not all the specifics of how we get there. In reality, I have found when I am paired in a team environment with someone that's more detail-oriented, we get together really well because I am able to help the group focus on the big picture and where we should be headed, sort of the goals and objectives. They are much better about thinking of the process and thinking of the specific things that will allow you to get that way and are much better equipped to execute on that game plan. So both approaches, I think, are very valuable. However, my inability or my unwillingness naturally to focus on detail has presented problems at times, for sure. And I would say there are three methods that I have used to try to address that. So for those of you that are more big picture, not detail-oriented, hopefully this helps you out. Number one is having a self-awareness that's a challenge for me. I think having an awareness of your strengths and setting yourself up to do well based on exaggerating your strengths or leveraging your strengths, but also finding ways to address your weaknesses, that's what is really successful. So for me, number one, it's having a self-awareness. It's recognizing when I'm not focusing on the details enough. Number two is basically knowing when or having a regular check-in with myself as to when I really do need to focus in on there, right? So there are times when you can't gloss over the details, right? You're planning a wedding and you need to have all the specifics. You are making a proposal, you are developing a game plan, and the big picture pie in the sky stuff is okay. That's great, that's actually vital. But without the specifics to get you there, it's just an idea, right? The game plan is what gets you there. So there are times when I really have to focus. I schedule time with myself to really get into the weeds on a particular project. I don't do it all the time because it's not my natural go-to thing, but I make a point of doing it. Number three, and this is the most important, surrounding myself with systems, processes, routines, and especially people that will help me address that natural weakness of mine. So I have always found I need to surround myself with at least one other detail-oriented person. This is why when I looked for a virtual assistant, I wanted someone who was very hyper-organized because I knew I was naturally not hyper-organized. It's probably one of the great reasons my wife and I have got together in the first place and have been happily married so long is because we balance each other out in those that sort of particular area among many others. So my goal for you, for those of you that are detail-oriented, is think of the fact, remember the fact that your attention to detail is not the only measure of success. That is maybe part of your measure of your success, but remember that other people are wired a little differently and respect that difference. If you are more like me and you're less detail-oriented, more big picture, think about those three ways that you can help to address that to be more successful overall. Have a good self-awareness. Think about when are times and schedule times that you really need to dig into weeds when appropriate. So it's not all the time, but it's just in specific circumstances. And number three, surround yourself with people, processes, routines that will help you address those weaknesses. What's funny about all of this, to wrap it up, is for investors, there is a big balance between the left brain detail-oriented investment style and the right brain broader investment style. One of my other videos on the Market Misbehavior channel deals with that whole brain investment process of balancing the left brain detail with the right brain, big picture creative thinking. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out some of my other videos, and be safe and be well. Thanks so much.